Today on the Tim Marner podcast show, I'm gonna butcher this. Josh Aghdam.
That's right.
Is it?
I don't even know myself. It's either Aghdam or Aghdam. I'll
Right.
take either.
From Sales Hero. What is it that you actually do, Josh? What does Sales Hero actually do?
So Sales Hero is a done-for-you sales agency. Mm-hmm. We take over the sales department of many small businesses, taking their inquiries all the way from inquiry to sale. Partner with them to kind of explode the businesses and relieve stress, take a lot of work away from business owners. Obviously, in a small business, a lot of owners are doing the sales themselves, and allowing them to focus on the areas that they excel the most, while we'll obviously make sure that we're acquiring new customers all the time.
How did this come into play for you then? Obviously, sales background, sales guy. You're just sales, aren't you?
Yeah. So just to give you a quick summary, I've been in sales for 20 plus years. I'm 35. I started in sales when I was 16, so I went straight into work in a bank. I've sold face-to-face in banks. I've sold on phones for big companies. I've done face-to-face sales, retail, supplements, all sorts of stuff. Kind of happened by accident, just had to get a job from school, didn't know what I wanted to do, and just been something I've ended up becoming very good at. But to skip on, in the last 11 years I've been running my own businesses, and the area where I've always excelled personally is sales, using my experiences and building products and building sales processes that make it very easy for the sales team to sell. So for the last 11 years I've been doing this for my own businesses, and then for the last couple of years I've been starting to do it for friends of friends and businesses that I know well. And it's only been very recently that we've decided to go all in on this business. I've sold 4 businesses this year, of my own businesses, and ultimately I had a bit of a reevaluation this year. I've decided to kind of go for this business because it's one where I can make the biggest impact. I love working with businesses, and it means that my day in, day out is doing more things like face-to-face work with people like yourself, which is what I want to be doing. I think I love building businesses, I enjoy it, I've still got businesses, but what I realised is I end up hiding behind my laptop a lot, and I'm not that kind of person. So this new business, when you actually evaluate it, is actually allowing me day in, day out to do what I enjoy, which is meeting people and sharing ideas and selling, I guess you could say.
What the businesses that you had then? What the businesses sold? What the business have you got now? Just
So,
to give people
yeah.
make, because you don't look 35.
Yeah, I know.
Do you? You look
No.
very young.
And when I was 16,
I'm taking Josh.
Yeah, when I was 16
seriously.
at the bank, I didn't look 16 either. I was like
Yeah.
11-year-old selling mortgages. But right now, we've got a martial arts club, which is a business partnership. I've got 2 small group personal training gyms. And this year, I've sold on my original business, which I've had for 11 years, which is a personal training gym in my local area. I've sold on a beauty salon, which I only had for 1 year, took over it, put in some systems, grew it quite quickly, and then decided actually probably not the right person to carry this on long term. I got a guitar tutoring business I've come out of this year, and another small group personal training gym. So I've just decided to make my portfolio a bit smaller, stop spreading myself quite so thin, and free up loads of room to kind of be inefficient for a while with this new business. And actually, what I'm doing with this new business is, rather than kind of spending money on fast growth, I'm trying to muscle it a little bit. I want to feel everything. I'm doing it all myself, and I'm just with a small team at the moment. I want to grow from the ground up and really enjoy the process. And that's actually recently this year involved me walking in and cold, like approaching businesses, which I've actually really enjoyed. I kind of enjoying that challenge of starting from square one. And it's not quite square one, but I'm acting like it is, and I'm enjoying it.
Why do people get sales so wrong? What people got such a stigma about sales, and from your point of view, it's a tough one, isn't it? Sales for people.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions. I think if we could change the word sales to something else, people might actually, we could rebrand the word. I guess you're the master of that. There's a lot of stigma with the word sales, which is incorrect. I think there's a lot of great salespeople out there that don't realise it. So I see.
Sales, you know what, mate? I had a conversation with Betty about this, and she came up yesterday just talking to me and said, "Look, Tim, I don't feel like I'm doing you justice. I'm not a salesperson."
Yeah.
And I said, "I've never asked you to sell anything."
People want to push themselves away from it as if it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, I'll never sell something I don't believe in. So we can get that one out of the way. I think a lot of people think when they're selling rubbish, and people will not like you after it.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person that will build a relationship, sell, and probably buy off them as well. It's a two-way thing, It's a relationship, isn't it? And then when you build trust and you start to get a reputation for being good at what you do, it becomes very easy. But in like normal scenarios, I consider a great salesperson your mate in your friendship group that can always talk someone into going on a night out when they didn't want to. That's a great salesperson. Come on, mate, it's going to be like this. We're gonna go here, we're gonna go there, like old times. The next thing you're out, that's a salesperson. But that person won't think they're a salesperson. It's someone that's very good at persuading, telling stories, selling people on the story, and then next thing they've sold them on the actual whatever they were trying to sell them onto. So I think there's a misconception about sales. For me, if you believe in what you're selling, it's a highly rewarding thing. And also as well, I think the other misconception about sales is it's kind of down the pecking order as far as skill sets. For me, sales is right up there.
Yeah, I think it's for most businesses, it seems like it's low on the pecking order for where they actually, let's get a logo on a website and let's make everything look jazzy. It's everything.
Yeah, it's everything. Like the top people in the world, business owners, are salesmen. Elon Musk. Yeah. He'll sell you on his vision and dream before it even seems like what he's talking about is possible. Yeah. Going to space, futuristic cars. Even when he did his daft thing about flamethrower, I don't follow him religiously at all, but flamethrowers, even I know about that. It's great marketing and it's great sales. And again, when he goes through that journey of telling you something's going to happen and then you see it come into life and then next thing you're buying it, the next time he does it, you believe him. And he backs up everything he says as far as I'm aware. So that's salesmen. And even at the very, very top, Richard Branson, all these people are salesmen at the end of the day, with teams around them and with brands around them.
You're selling people into your vision, you're selling people into your brand, first and foremost, and they end up buying your products and service.
Yeah. It's super important, and the reason why I've actually created this business on top of what I've already said is I believe there's lots and lots of small businesses out there that have amazing products. They've got business owners that are often the technician or the person doing the work, extremely good, and they're staying at a much lower level than they should be because they've not got the sales processes right, because they're scared to do it or they don't understand it, or there's many reasons. But ultimately my business is here to partner with businesses that have got a fantastic product who could fast grow with me involved and my team. If you plug us in, we'll do all the sales, we'll figure out the gold in your business, focus the story on that, sell that for them, and actually allow them to focus on what they're good at. And going back to what I said about myself earlier, they get to do them what they're enjoying day in, day out. Because a lot of business owners, let's say you're enjoying it, you enjoy doing it, you're brilliant, you're the best known in the area. The next thing, they get so bogged down running the business, doing the sales, they end up doing that because they can't outsource it. They hire new joiners, doing the stuff that they enjoy doing in the first place, and they end up with a business they hate because they're doing sales and whatever else a business involves, as we all know. And the people that they hire are doing what they actually enjoyed in the first place. When you sit back, you feel good because you're successful or you're on your way to being successful, but you're not enjoying what you're doing.
What's the point?
And luckily for me, I love the sales part of it.
Which is
so feed it to me.
Yeah. The process, mate, of getting your sales right and having a system in place. I mean, you've talked about this before, haven't we?
Yeah.
How important is that side of it before you even start doing that?
I think it's everything. I think from the moment they work with someone like yourself who will take it to the beginning and build a brand and a story and an identity and really get your values across, all the way through to actually selling to a customer, that whole bit is important. I love a football analogy, mate, and I'm not sat here saying I'm like the best closer in the world. I feel like if you need the best closer in the world for you to get sales, there's a problem with your sales processes. And what I say with the football analogy is you want to turn having to score from the halfway line with each sale into making your sales a tap-in. Get your sales process so strong, get your story aligned, get your product list correct. And I find the biggest obstacle with people buying isn't a great close or anything like that. It's people being confused, people not sure which option to go for, people not trusting your brand enough to go for it. And if we can get to a position where there's enough social proof, there's enough of a reputation, there's a clear product list, there's a clear journey into the business, it just becomes a simple yes or no, rather than, I find with a lot of businesses, they want to join you or they want to start the journey with you, but they're not sure to go for A, B or C. and it's ourselves that's caused the confusion.
Yeah.
So
in order to try and stand out.
Yeah, we want to get to a point where there's no maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe for me is the biggest killer of sales. I want to do it, but let me have a think. And then as time goes on, it gets colder and colder and colder. You want to be a simple yes or no. You want to get people in a position where they just go, do you know what, go on then. Because that's where a lot of relationships start, and then the trust builds, and they see the reaction, they see the response and the outcome they wanted, and then they get more and more invested. So I feel people really confuse it. They have different messages on the website to what they're saying on social media. They're constantly changing the product or the way they talk about the product, and it just needs to be super clear. And then by the time the sales team get involved, it's about getting the customer from where they are to an informed customer who believes in the product and how it fits and works for them, because that's what it's all about, what's in it for them. And then getting the sale over the line. And again, it's not about tricking people, it's about convincing people that this is the right path for them, and they'll thank you for it later.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot of times, mate. From ourselves, getting a brand right, got the brand right, love the culture, everybody loves the brand, and then all of a sudden it comes to the products and services, and they've given that many options, or they're just a bit misconstrued. Should it be a free trial, or should it be 6 months, or it should be a 1 day pass, or should it, you know what I mean? It's like getting that bit right is key, innit?
It is key, and I think it depends on the business. So to give you a quick example, a lot of my businesses that I've done over the years is often a paid way in, because you want to attract the right customers, and it's not that there's time wasters out there. I think if you get a time waster, it's because you've brought them into the business the wrong way most of the time. So paid way in, just because it means that they get a little bit of a foot in the door without committing too much, and then you can show them the value once they get in, and then get them to commit more. But in one of the businesses, we actually do free trials, and the one that we do that for is martial arts. And that's where the sales process is key, because we've started a martial arts journey. There's enough obstacles in the way without money as well.
Yeah, I need to try it.
Exactly, and you don't really attract time wasters for martial arts because it's enough of an obstacle to come. People don't just come around trying out martial arts gyms. It's a pretty scary experience to go to one, never mind try out 10 and just see which one fits. So if they're coming the serious in the first place, so remove the money, get them in the door, give them a really warm welcome, and then we can convert them onto it later once they've seen that it's not as scary as they think, and it's the right place for them.
Was it always set up like that, or have you sort of like psychologically looked at that and understand the psychology of a person coming? Was it paid before and then you turned it to free?
Well, at the very beginning, we started with straight to membership,
right.
Which is for me, with the kind of products which I do a lot, which is often like, I've got a lot of gyms, and we often start with what we call a front end product, which is just a kind of, if you take it to the dating world analogy, it's like a date really. Let's go on a date, let's see. Whereas becoming a member is like straight to marriage. Even if they like you, even if they fancy, even if they could see themselves being with you for the rest of their lives, they're probably not going to marry you at the first meeting. So we take them on a date, and then obviously after that, you can take them for the next step and next step and next step. So we always try and give them an introduction to the business first, a small kind of packaged up version of the business to answer all the questions they have, and to kind of reinforce that it's the right place for them, then sell to them a second time.
Is that a sort of running theme, would you say, from people, I'm trying to give as much value to people, would you say for other people to do that? Would it be a free trial one-off, or what would you say, Josh, would be a good a month, or?
It all depends, and I think like we as well as the actual sales hero product, we do a lot of consultancy. Depending on the business, we'll look at their values, their brand, where the real gold in their product is. So like, say for someone like yourself, your gold really is a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
You couldn't go, let's do a week trial.
Yeah. Because
you're only just kind of learning the business, and the real gold comes down the line when you acquire customers over time, you're building a brand, and it takes a while you want at least a year really to go on a journey. So to give them a week of that wouldn't make any sense. So for you, it would be more about giving them some of your time probably.
Yeah.
Telling them about the story and the vision of what you could do for them, and then you're kind of in or out. Whereas another business where, like the martial arts club, they'll know after one session this is the right place for them. So we can package that kind of first date into one session. So it all depends on the business. It depends where the real gold is for you, and because what you don't want to do is get them in and give them the lowest version of yourself, because you know that actually we didn't get to show you really what we could do. So it's about the business, it's about the journey that you want to take them on, and giving them enough without giving them everything at once, because People aren't going to pay for a year up front without speaking or seeing anybody. They want a little, and also as well on top of that, everything's so competitive these days. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of people taking their attention. So you need to be able to kind of get them on a hook, and then once they're on the hook, you can actually show them what you're about before you let them off the hook. It's as simple as that, really. But it depends on each business.
What are your sort of like things that you've sort of come to? Phone calls, text messaging. Where are you at now as you kind of come into this new era of AI and people? You know, where do you sit? Phone ringing people, texting people.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I've done it all, first of all, so I'm not afraid or avoiding any or got any bias, but we, for the majority of our clients right now, are using text messaging, and that includes WhatsApp, Messenger, whatever the best
Where are you
form
at
of
between
communication.
SMSing and WhatsApping?
I think it all depends on your brand, personally.
Right.
I think what would your clients most likely use, depending on the age group, depending on how they would perceive it. Some audiences still might find WhatsApp a little bit invasive, whereas a lot think, why would you message me on text? I've not had a text since 1992. So It all depends on the audience, but ultimately we find messaging now, and this only goes if you've got a strong brand as well. You've got a good reputation, so they trust you right away.
Yeah.
If Nike texts me, I'm gonna engage with them. So you've got to have a strong brand, but we believe messaging now, if it's a like-for-like text or calls, is taking over calls, and there's a few reasons. One, I don't answer phone calls personally. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And if I do book a phone call, and I'm putting myself in the shoes of the customer, but a lot of our customers, depending on the demographic now, if they do book a call, by the time it's 5 to 11 and the call was at 11, they start thinking, actually, I can't take it. I've had a busier morning than the first 4. How long's this call going to be, etc., etc. So it's quite a big commitment. So what I've found for a lot of our businesses, the ones that we've worked with, is actually getting them onto the call is such a big hurdle that we're losing a lot of good quality customers, because good quality customers we're avoiding the calls, not just so-called bad customers. So we're losing a lot of people there, and then when we do get them on the call, because of the brands we're working with, these are quite informed customers at this point, so a lot of them would have signed up anyway, whether we did a call or text. And I'd say out of 10, I think 1 maybe needed the call to be convinced, and if we signed up 5, 4 of them are going to do it over text anyway. So we're spending loads of time getting people onto calls, doing the calls, and actually only getting 1 extra sale. But on the flip side, I believe we actually get the same amount of sales on text message, because at least 1 out of those 10 that would have ghosted us or changed their mind or gone cold by the time we got them on the phone, because bear in mind, these calls often don't happen immediately. 1 that would have actually done it impulsively when they were ready to do it, when they just got in touch, would have got on with it if you just allowed them that opportunity via message.
Interesting, mate.
Yeah. So I find that if you say you signed up 5 out of 10 on call, 5 out of 10 on text, you might get 1 or 2 different people, but more than likely the people that you get on text are actually better quality customers, because they may be more action taken, they're more ready to go, they're more informed, they've done a bit more research, they've looked on the website, they've looked on Instagram, etc., whatever the businesses are on. So, and not to mention that it's a lot more scalable, it's a lot more manageable, it's a lot more trainable, because you can obviously oversee it, you can put some bits of scripts in there and language in there, whereas calls often will require a trained closer or somebody that's actually been put through some kind of training course to make sure they're representing the brand correctly.
Not many people have got that. They're small business.
And then on top of text as well, if you are texting and go back and forward a bit, you've got the opportunity as a business for someone to take over that messaging, whereas a call, obviously, once you're on the call, you need your best closers, and there's certain time slots, things like that. So we find that if you do believe your product is that high ticket, that it requires a real conversation, which there is a place for that, no doubt about it, get them in, or do a Zoom, or do it properly. If your product is that high ticket, which obviously you're sat in front of me, yours probably is, getting to meet you is a really good experience, where you're going to show them around, look what we do, look at the brand. I totally get that, but I would skip the call probably. Maybe message will set up the face-to-face, etc. But if you've got a product that's kind of often ready to buy, it doesn't require this real personal experience, I think text messaging is beating calls most of the time now. And it's just because of the last few years, people's buying habits have changed. People are busier. people. I mean, how many times can you call a friend and they don't answer, but then if you message them, they'll answer. So that says it all. You can get a response out of somebody via message when you couldn't maybe get a response via call.
Interesting that, isn't it? Yeah, mate rings me, I'm like, oh. Then he says, can you call me, mate? You're like, boom, straight on it.
Yeah, exactly. And the same for people buying. I'm not ready to talk to you on the phone, but I could have a quick conversation now on text and let's get this over and done with and sorted. Because the customer wants that as much as the seller. They've got in touch with you because they're interested. Make it as easy as possible for them to become informed and to become a customer. While they're hot as well. That's the other key thing. And if you compare it to other people, if people are still doing calls, your rival or competition might message them and try and arrange a call, all the while you've messaged them and sold to them before the call even happened. So you're making the process easier.
Yeah, I love that, Josh. That's really good, that, mate.
One thing I've always done
really seems counterintuitive, but like, no, it's not actually. It's actually how people want to be treated.
Exactly. I've always tried to put myself in the shoes of the customer, understand the customer, what do they want, and often you're asking the same question to yourself.
Yeah.
My buying habits have definitely changed. I try and minimise the amount of calls per day. So yeah, I think I mean, my latest gym that I opened in January was built exclusively via text message and WhatsApp. So that's a business that's only ever had that, and it's worked well. The martial arts club, exclusively via Messenger and WhatsApp.
So what are them habits of that person? You got this gym, you set this gym up from scratch, then you built it on text and WhatsApp. How does that work from, are you booking them in and they sign up for a trial to come down and take a look around? How does that work?
Yeah, so it would depend, but just to use the example of the gym we opened in January, this would be, they've say come through a Facebook ad, a Meta ad, an inquiry on the website. However, we obviously set the business up, and then we will then respond with a message that tries to take them from being uninformed to informed quite quickly. It's also a very transparent process. We're showing the prices and things like this, so it becomes an incredible experience for the customer. They don't feel like they're being... I'm not saying that it's wrong to not show the price. I've probably done that most of my career, but it's allowing us to be really transparent and be like, look, we've got a good product. But yeah, sorry, to answer your question, we're actually signing them up via message, invoicing them via message, which is really handy if you've got a platform that allows you to invoice within. Obviously, we know that there's some out there, including your own. And then they'll pay, and then because they're now a paid customer, we can then move them on to step one of being a customer.
So they've never even come down to the gym?
No, so we're limiting that time. Because if we've got loads of social proof on Google reviews, Instagram showing behind the scenes of what the gym looks like, the website that backs that up, I mean, the more social proof, the better. I mean, if you've got a podcast, anything, it really builds that trust. So they're then in a position where they can make a decision. We don't really have any tours anyway, so it would have been a phone call originally. So it's just about building that trust.
The landscape's really changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You don't even need to go down and try it out.
Yeah. Well, if you've got like a business that's got a high street location, that's another form of social proof. Like for you guys, you can drive past. A lot of businesses you can drive past. Yeah. You're like, I know them, they're there. Yeah. I've seen them on Instagram. I've seen the website, because people will do this these days, won't they? They'll go around everything. And that's more than enough. And then obviously they have a positive experience with you via message, and that's enough for them to think, right, I'm in. And again, I'm not in for the year. It'll be for a shortened version of the product, and then after that it reinforces a decision, and then you can keep them beyond that. But for working with ourselves, for example, if we're doing that for you, you don't even have to speak to your customers until they're a customer. That's the difference, and then you could just focus on servicing your customers and doing what you're really good at. And if you're doing your bit and we're doing our bit, you've just got a flourishing business. It becomes really easy.
It's mint that, mate, isn't it? There's a massive market for it, isn't there?
It's great. I mean, I've been in business for 11 years, and I've seen so many good business owners fail, not because they weren't good at what they do. They just couldn't get their heads around sales and marketing. And I think there's a place for really good business owners that are the technician. And it's not just about replacing the hours of the owner doing the sales as well. This can be replacing having to do a hire for a full-time salesperson, because our price point is way below that. this is a price point that will be a much bigger saving on a full-time member of staff that you've got to bring in and train on something you don't even like doing yourself or probably not even got the hang of, and then potentially have to get rid of because it's not working through no fault of their own. There's two paths really, it's do it yourself or hire somebody, whereas we're trying to create that third option, which is time saving and money saving. And also as well, it's much easier to fire us. If it's not working, just end it.
Yeah,
you don't have to you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to go through the process of guilt and whatnot with a staff member.
HR.
Yeah, all that stuff. So
all that stuff.
Because obviously everyone's got good intentions, they want it to work out, but
Yeah.
if you've not got the processes down yourself, it's going to be very difficult to bring somebody in to take over and just do it for you. They're looking for you for guidance on how the process should work really before they even come in.
How does the process work with you? Like somebody gets in touch with Josh, can you come down? What are you doing? Are you going down evaluating the business? Talk to me about that process.
We will, because for this business model, I believe that a face-to-face experience is worthwhile because we're looking to build a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
I believe either go down, and if it's a long way away, I might do a Zoom initially, get to know the business, get to know the values, the brand, what they're doing at the moment, and start to see if any tweaks need to make into the sales process first of all. A lot of the time the process is working, they're either just wanting to limit the time that they're putting into that side of things, or they're looking to scale. And we will then, if we think it's a good fit, do a proper onboarding call and then sign them up. We do a minimum of 3 months at the moment, we're looking to extend that over time. And then ultimately we onboard them to all our systems and then get started from the date that we agree. And it's dead simple because a lot of businesses, their leads will be coming in via email, Meta, whatever, and we just direct them to us. And we give them a transparent process that they can oversee at all times as well. So not only are we looking after it for them, they can check in and see how things are going at any time, see the conversations happening and make sure that everything's seamless. And because what sometimes people think, oh, how can this work if you're representing our business? But I've done that for my own businesses for years where I'm not actually on site. I'm doing it remotely.
Yeah.
And it's just like having a salesperson that is on site doing it, but it just happens to be the salesperson isn't on site. We get to know your business like a staff member would. We get to understand your brand and make sure that we're speaking on behalf of that brand. And ultimately the relationship carries on for a long period of time because at the end of the day, if it's working, what's good from my point of view, nobody wants to stop it.
Proof of the pudding.
Yeah, like
if it's working.
If
it's
it's working, if you either take over it again yourself, which is taking you back to where you were doing all the work yourself, or you give it to somebody else who's going to be charging a lot more. So it's a really good product because it solves a massive issue for them, and it also makes sense for us business wise as well.
It's really good, mate. I mean, you talked about it before, but like I've got loads of people that I'm going to put you in touch with that really, really need your help. Great brand, great bloody product. They just don't outsell it.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like a running theme, and I feel that there's a thing happening around Bolton and stuff like that. There's small businesses shutting down because they've not got your bit locked, and it's so important.
Yeah.
Always say, look, get your brand locked, perfect, mint, love it. Everyone loves it, right? But you're not fucking selling anything. And it's just like, you've got to get the business side and the brand, yeah? Somewhere in the middle of that, there's like the brand and the business overlap, and there's a sales process there that people need to get locked.
Yeah, and it's important because, as you'll know, a lot of business owners will be really good at what they do and just believe if they open, people will come.
Mm. Yeah, so
And
it's
they won't.
Noah's Ark.
Yeah, you'll always get the odd one that'll find their way in, but 99% of the time people need guiding from looking through the window to bringing them in. It's just human nature. I think it's almost a red flag from a business if they're not trying to onboard people and sell to them. I've had experiences. You ever been into like a store? You go in, you're looking for something, let's say you're looking for a suit, and you actually do need help. And if someone doesn't approach you, you just think, you know what, I'm going to just walk out. And that salesperson in the store probably thinks, oh, I don't want to be too salesy. It's like, I actually need your help. I actually could do with your advice, but I feel awkward going and approaching you.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, if you're not approaching me, it almost feels cold. Like, oh, they don't want me in here. They just wish the store was empty and they could chat. So you've got to remember, you're sat there thinking, I don't want to sell, but to the customer, it looks like you don't want the custom. So building a sales process that's warm and inviting is a better fit for your brand than just letting people come. And there are the odd business exception out there that can build a huge business just on referrals, isn't there?
Yeah, just on word of mouth. But
Yeah.
like I tell you what, just do not do that because
It's
it's
an
some kind
anomaly.
that could dry up like that.
It's an anomaly, and it's also not scalable or
I
predictable.
I built Tim Marner on that,
Yeah.
but it dries up very quickly that
Yeah.
in points, and then it can come back round again, then dry up again, then come back on again.
Yeah.
It's like you cannot rely on word of mouth alone.
Yeah, exactly. So and a lot of businesses that do rely on multiple sales and products, there's no way you can do that word of mouth.
Yeah.
And word of mouth should be treated as a bonus because obviously when they come in, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not a scalable business model over a period of years, is it?
Yeah,
It might be good for your first few months when people are talking about it, you knew it's exciting, but over time you've got to have a way of attracting people and acquiring customers. And then obviously keeping them, which is more of the responsibility of the business itself.
Yeah.
Which, if they're great at what they do, we'll assume they are. It's not going to be an issue. Just
remembering people's birthdays and making
Yeah.
notes on that person's account, that what the kids' names are and how they got in football, and it's all that. That's what I love about Betty. She remembers all them things that are important to that person, and how'd you go on, and it's so important all that.
It is important, and I think in this day and age now, where you can often run a business behind a laptop, I think people do lose that personal touch, and I think those personal touches are what make you stand out.
Yeah.
That's what makes the difference, because there's not many businesses out there where there isn't hundreds of people doing the same thing, but what you can do is obviously stand out by having that personal touch, which is becoming less and less with a lot of people being online only identities. What you do is you've got an online presence clearly, but there's a real person in there and a real face-to-face experience, and that's something that people are going to struggle to rival, and there's a lot to take away from our businesses for that, giving that personal touch, putting your face to things a little bit, telling your story and why you're doing it, not just what you're doing.
Yeah, the thing that makes you different.
Exactly. And then ultimately, obviously, most importantly, what's in it for them? What's the benefit for them?
Yeah.
What they're going to get out of it. And we've got a very clear message. It's you either want your time back, and that can go into your family, your children, growing the business, or you save money, which everyone likes to do. Or even, as we said before, just not spending your days doing things you don't enjoy. So there's quite a few key things that we can give to businesses, and if that means that you stay in business, or you enjoy your day-to-day more, or you save money, then that's really rewarding for us. We're working with people that we're really making a big difference for.
What is your vision for Sales Hero? What is your ultimate sort of why?
The biggest why is I love working with business owners. I've always enjoyed it. I've done consultancy in the past, which I enjoy, but this gets me to work with multiple businesses, people with a real story behind why they're doing it. You might be working with a couple who their business surviving means that they get to see each other every day rather than just for a couple of hours in the evening, or they get to live a nicer life because the business is thriving. They get to do day in, day out what they were put on this planet to do. Because there's a lot of people out there that I love it when people have an old school skill. Like I said before, joinery. Yeah. They're using their hands. They did joinery as an adult because they used to enjoy Lego as a kid or whatever. These are great stories, and that's what I want to be able to do, help people that maybe are being held back, or the bottleneck is the sales. And for me personally, the vision is to build it so big that we're helping multiple businesses. Every single individual sale has got a proper story behind it. People that are thankful, people that enjoy it. And for me, from a selfish point of view, I want to build a really cool office like you've got, have a really cool team, and have people coming in and visiting, and going out there and visiting them, and obviously making sure that the business is thriving and making loads of money. And if we're doing that for them, everything else will look after itself. And I want a pool table in the office as well. So yeah, that's the vision.
Is there an emotional why behind that? Is this because when you started talking then, mate, you got it really sort of triggered you, because I could see the passion in your eyes.
I think ultimately for me, as I said before, it comes back to I want to do what I'm enjoying every day, which is, I think I'm really good at selling. I really understand it. I think.
But do you know what it feels like to have a business fail, or to be left on your own?
I've not had many business failures, to be honest, because I don't ever try and run before I can walk. So I've got very small businesses that are nothing exciting, but not necessarily failures. But I guess ultimately what it comes back to is when I was leaving school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what I was good at. I didn't know what I was passionate about, and I didn't enjoy school. So when I left school, I thought I was going the hard route, just doing jobs. And over the years, got very, very good at selling because I had no choice but to do it. Watched some really good people do what they do. I've done loads of sets of reps. I've worked with lots of different customers. I know why customers buy, what makes them tick. And I've got really good at, again, it's not tricking people, it's listening to them and finding a solution. And then ultimately, when you get that feedback from them that you've changed their life, or, I mean, I don't want to build it too much because sometimes I'm selling protein, I've not changed their life, but they come back in and they say, that was great, thanks for recommending it, can you recommend anything else? And you add more and more over time, and that's how you build relationships. And I enjoy doing it, but ultimately I feel like that's my skill that I can put out there and help other people, and I want to be paid for it, but I feel like I can deliver value way beyond what I'm going to be charging people.
Yeah, it's like there's something else there, you know, and maybe you've not even looked at it, but that time where you were leaving school and you felt a bit lost, that maybe you thought to yourself, well, I don't want anybody else to feel like this. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I think...
Because you're like really passionate about it.
Yeah, I think the other thing was actually, when I found business, that was my call and I really enjoy it. It's the kind of thing I will do on my own for an hour when I've got time and I could be doing anything. I'll work on my business and I'll come up with ideas. That's my creativity. And I know it's a lot of other people's as well. I've always been the kind of person that will encourage people to open their own business if they've got a thing they're good at. So there's many people that work for other people doing that thing. And I feel if they just took the risk, which is not always that big a risk anyway, and did it themselves, they could just live a much better life. And I feel like I've got the skill set and the ability to help lots of people do that.
Did your mum and dad have businesses? Did their own business?
My dad did for a bit. He used to have his own shop and we used to do car boot sales, so that's a little bit of kind of where I might have got some of it from, the car boot sales, bit of wheeling, dealing, understanding people. Right. And my mum always had kind of different jobs. None of them had really high paying jobs at all. They were just normal jobs really, but I suppose we struggled for money a little bit growing up. Nothing major, just normal family, but never could just go to Disneyland when they wanted. Do you know what I mean? So now being able to obviously create a business that could provide those kind of things where you can do whatever you want is massive. And obviously then me being able to run a business that helps other businesses do that is even bigger. It's a much bigger impact. And I guess that's what it comes down to really. What vehicle is the best vehicle for me to make the most impact? And I think this is the one for me. It's working well so far and I'm kind of spending most of my time doing the thing I'm best at now.
How did you dad, what sort of shop did you have, Dad?
It was before I was born, but it was a market stall that sold a bit of everything, and then got a shop which sold a bit of everything. But then they closed the shop when I was born, or just before, because it was just all consuming. So another example of a business closing because it was unmanageable even though it was working.
Do you ever look at that and think that's where it's actually come from?
I don't know, but I always think it's a shame when people are
100% bet that's where it's come from.
Yeah, maybe.
Because when you talk, mate, honestly, your eyes light up, and I bet it comes from your dad and your mum having to shut that shop.
Well, there's loads of reasons. There's been loads of times in life, like anybody, like I said, I've not got a sub story, but where you're doing something, it's working, you're enjoying it, and you have to stop for another reason that maybe isn't, you feel like it's not relevant to what was happening day in, day out. But any business that closed could have been saved with more sales. That's a fact. Even if there is problems or there's toxic workplace or whatever, you get more sales in and that all changes. It just does.
Yeah.
So it's the quickest way to save more businesses and make them flourish, really. And enjoy it. That's what I mean. I think that's the key thing, really. You want to enjoy what you do. I can tell you enjoy what you do, and if everyone had that, it would be a much better world, wouldn't it?
Yeah, huge. Yeah, finding your purpose and the thing that you're meant to be doing is like, it's just like getting out of bed in the morning. It's just like, you don't go to work. And exactly. It's a bit cliche saying it.
It is, but it's true. I think there is there's enough room for everyone on this planet to be doing what they enjoy. Because that's what it goes back to. If you go hundreds of years, everyone was trading stuff, wasn't they?
Yeah.
There wasn't maybe money being traded so much. It was all
Energy for energy.
Yeah. Exactly. So there's enough room for lots more businesses in this world, and you just got to get the processes right. I think ultimately a lot of people start a business because they're good at the thing.
Yeah.
I just think if I just keep doing the thing, it'll work. But there is always a point where you need more than the thing. A business is more than the actual product. It's managing. It's leading, it's finance, it's sales, it's marketing, it's retention. And these are all things that generally people haven't done, and why would they? You don't learn it in school, do you? So you learn it from doing it.
I've just
and
got to
failing.
think I'm really good at that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to make money out of this. So you end up like doing it and just like, I don't know about these other things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
so you've got to get people like yourself into it.
Obviously you can get business partners. A lot of people do that. Business partners who bring the other things.
Yeah.
But this product allows a lot of people to not have to do anything too big, not do anything life changing like get a business partner. It's just partnering with a sales team who are going to look after that side for you.
How quick can people see from you coming in, mate, to getting it going? Like, how quick is that process? And obviously, I know every business is going to be different, but just give me a sort of a...
Yeah, we can usually onboard within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What we don't say is we don't ever promise we're going to come in and blow up your sales, because it depends on a lot more than the person who does sales. There's your reputation, there's your brand, there's your product, there's how good you are at delivering the product. But what we can do is promise that we're going to be on your sales day in, day out, like a full-time salesperson, which no business owner can do. If you're doing sales, you're coming away from the thing or your team or whatever, and then often you'll be responding depending on how busy your day is. We'll be all over it. We're obviously a trained team who are good at it, and we're going to be converting your leads for you, and we're making them into happy customers. So we can onboard people within 2 weeks. There's things to do. We want to learn about your brand. It's not a one-size-fits-all product. And one thing I always want to do is keep it very personal. As I said before, learning about the business and tweaking our service to fit into their current setup. But we can do it pretty quickly, a couple of weeks if the business is ready for that. And then after that, it's all about getting the systems going, and we can, from day one of the start date, we can take over everything completely.
How can people find you, Josh? Where can I send people right now who's listening to this?
So if you, at the minute, we're not starting a website because I'm trying to avoid running before I can walk, just focus on the thing, which is obviously a bit ironic in how much I'm focused on not just doing the thing, but doing the thing at the minute on Instagram, at Josh Aghdam. On there I've got like links to click to, you can find out a bit more about the service. And I'm putting loads of content out there. I'm putting lots of free information out there as well. But if you are interested in finding out more, you can just drop me a message. I'll click the link in the bio and find out more there.
Yeah, or drop me a message and I'll send you Josh's details. Appreciate you, mate. Thank you for coming on. We'll have a chat after this, yeah?
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Tim Marner, what, you're branding with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branding with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branding with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branding with the best.